On the third day, Korath came to collect them. The apex hunter walked through the crystal forest with sub-apex Velith and war-singer Thrak behind him. They expected to find humans hiding in fear, waiting to be rescued or eaten. Instead, they found something that shocked them. Jake Morrison was teaching Corin how to make better crystal arrows. Lisa Carter was showing Amanda which plants could be used to make poison for their weapons. Ryan Stone was expanding their shelter and building traps around the camp's edge. "Humans," Korath called out. "The 3 days are finished. You have survived the Crimson Wastes." Jake looked up from his work and smiled. "Hello, Korath. Would you like some roasted tunnel dweller? We caught more than we can eat." Korath stared at the human camp. In 3 days, they had not just survived, they had created a small village. They had weapons, tools, food storage, and defenses. The area around their camp was clear of dangerous predators who had learned to avoid the humans' territory. "How bet you? Many did you lose?" Velith asked, expecting to hear about human deaths. "None," Amanda replied proudly. "We all made it through alive. And we gained one," Lisa added, pointing to Corin, who was sitting by their fire. Thrak walked around the camp, examining everything. "You built all this in 3 days?" "We built what we needed," Ryan said. "Shelter, weapons, defenses, basic survival requirements." Korath picked up one of their crystal spears. It was well made and sharp. "These are good weapons, better than what most species create with advanced tools." "Humans have been making weapons for thousands of years," Jake explained. "We started with rocks and sticks. Crystal and vines are an upgrade." Velith looked at the pile of tunnel dweller shells near the camp. "You killed many of them." "They attacked us first," Lisa said. "We defended ourselves." "Defended?" Korath's eyes glowed brighter. "You did more than defend. You drove them away from this entire area." Jake stood up and faced the Zephyrian leader. "Korath, I need to ask you something. What was the real purpose of this test?" "To see if you were worthy prey," Korath replied. "To see if hunting you would bring honor to Zephyrian warriors." "And what did you learn?" Korath was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the human camp, at their weapons and tools, at the way they had changed a dangerous piece of forest into a safe home. "I learned that humans are not prey at all," Korath said slowly. "You are apex predators like us, but you hunt in a different way." "How do we hunt?" Amanda asked. "You hunt entire worlds," Velith said with something like admiration in her voice. "You take places where nothing can live and make them places where millions can live." Thrak nodded. "Other species adapt to their environment. Humans make their environment adapt to them." Corin stood up from by the fire. "Captain Morrison, I want to make a formal request. My government sent me here to observe and report. I want to request that the hegemony open talks with humanity for an alliance." "An alliance?" Jake asked. "Your tactics saved my life," Corin explained. "But more than that, your way of thinking about problems could help my people solve challenges we have faced for centuries." Korath made a sound deep in his throat that Jake realized was laughter. "Do you see what has happened here? In 3 days, humans have impressed a hegemony warrior so much that he wants his people to ally with yours." "Is that unusual?" Lisa asked. "The hegemony has never allied with anyone," Velith said. "They believe other species are too weak to be useful partners." Jake looked at his team. They were dirty, tired, and had cuts and bruises from their 3 days in the forest. But they were alive, confident, and had turned a death trap into a home. "Korath, Jake said. What happens now? Do we get to dine with you? Yes, Korath said, but not as prey that earned mercy. You will dine with us as equals, as fellow apex predators. Equals? Amanda asked. I have never said this about any species, Korath replied, but humans deserve respect. You are predators who hunt on the same level as Zephyrians. You just hunt different prey. They walked back through the crystal forest toward the Palace of Bones. Jake noticed that the Zephyrians treated them differently now. They walked beside the humans instead of herding them. They asked questions about human tactics and technology. Korath, Lisa said, can I ask you something? Why did you really invite us here? Because we heard stories about human expansion that seemed impossible, Korath admitted. Other species said humans were weak, but somehow conquered worlds that stronger races could not survive on. We wanted to understand how. And now you do? Ryan asked. Now I do, Korath confirmed. Humans are not weak. You are the most successful predator species in the galaxy. You prey on entire planets and turn them into nests for billions of your offspring. That evening they sat at a great table made from crystal and bone. The Zephyrian nobles filled enormous chairs around the table. Jake and his team sat in smaller chairs, but they were treated as honored guests. The food was unlike anything they had eaten before. Some of it was cooked meat from creatures Jake didn't recognize. Some of it was fruits and vegetables from Zephyrian farms. All of it was delicious. Captain Morrison, Korath said, raising a cup of fermented crystal fruit juice. I propose a toast to the human species, apex predators who taught Zephyrians that there are many ways to be strong. To the Zephyrians, Jake replied, raising his own cup, who gave us the chance to prove what humans can do when we work together. As they drank, Sub-Apex Valeth asked, what will you do when you return to your people? We'll tell them about the Zephyrians, Amanda said, about your honor, your strength, and your wisdom. And we'll tell them that humanity has new friends among the stars, Lisa added. Korath nodded approvingly. The Zephyrian Empire would be honored to call humans our allies. Together, we could explore new worlds and face new challenges. What kind of challenges? Ryan asked. There are ancient enemies in the dark spaces between stars, Thrak said. Creatures that hunt entire civilizations. Neither Zephyrians nor humans could face them alone. But together? Jake asked. Together we might have a chance, Korath replied. As the evening continued, Jake realized that everything had changed. Humanity had come to this feast as a small new species, hoping to prove they deserved respect. They were leaving as equals to the galaxy's most feared predators. But more than that, they had discovered something about themselves. Humans were not just survivors or explorers. They were apex predators who hunted on a scale that other species couldn't even imagine. They didn't hunt individual prey. They hunted entire worlds and made them homes for their species. Dr. Carter, Jake said quietly, when we get back to Earth, humanity's place in the galaxy will be very different. Better? She asked. Much better, Jake replied. We're not the weak newcomers anymore. We're the species that impressed apex predators so much that they want us as allies. Amanda smiled. Wait until Earth Command hears about this. We came here for a diplomatic dinner and ended up creating the most important alliance in human history. Corin, who had been invited to stay for the feast, raised his cup. To humans, the species that saved my life and taught me that strength comes in many forms. As the night continued, Jake looked around the table at Zephyrians and humans sharing food, stories, and laughter. This was how civilizations were built, not through conquest or submission, but through mutual respect between equals. When humans had sat down to dine with apex predators, they had not done so as prey or as supplicants. They had done so as fellow hunters who had proven their worth in the most basic way possible, by surviving, adapting, and thriving in a place designed to destroy them. The feast ended with promises of future cooperation, shared knowledge, and joint expeditions to unexplored worlds. But for Jake Morrison and his team, it ended with something even more valuable: the knowledge that humanity had earned its place among the galaxy's apex species, not through superior strength or advanced technology, but through the same stubborn determination that had carried humans from caves to the stars. They were predators who hunted on a cosmic scale, and now the galaxy knew it. By the end of the second day, everything had changed. Jake Morrison sat by a small fire made from crystal wood and looked at what his team had built. They had created a shelter from fallen crystal branches and mud from the stream. They had made weapons from sharp crystal pieces and strong vines. They had even figured out how to catch the small fish that lived in the red water. "The tunnel dwellers will come back tonight," Lisa Carter said, cleaning a cut on her arm. "They hunt in packs, after dark." "Let them come," Ryan Stone replied. He was making arrows for the bow he had crafted from flexible crystal branches. "We're ready for them this time." Amanda Brooks was weaving a net from plant fibers. Her diplomatic uniform was torn and dirty, but she looked more confident than she had in years. "I never thought I'd enjoy being this dirty and dangerous." Tunnel dwellers had attacked them the night before. They were lizard-like creatures with many legs that came up from holes in the ground. The first attack had surprised the humans, but they had fought back with teamwork and determination. By morning, they had killed 6 of the creatures and wounded several more. "Dr. Carter," Jake said, "show me that map you've been making." Lisa spread out a piece of bark covered with scratches and marks. "We're here by the stream. The shadow beasts live in this area, but they avoid us now. The tunnel dwellers come from these holes to the north. Over here are the razor birds that fly in flocks." "What about the big predator we saw this morning?" Amanda asked. "The one with the acid spit?" Lisa pointed to another area on her map. "I think it's territorial. It stays near those tall crystal formations and doesn't wander much." Jake studied the map. In 2 days, his team had learned more about this place than the Zephyrians probably expected. They had not just survived. They had begun to understand their environment and master it. "Captain," Ryan said, "I've been thinking about something. We haven't seen any sign of the other alien delegation since yesterday morning." "The screaming stopped," Amanda said quietly. "All of it." Jake nodded. "I think we're the only ones left." "That should make us feel bad," Lisa said, "but somehow it doesn't. Is that wrong?" "No," Jake replied. "It's natural. We're in survival mode. Our brains are focused on staying alive, not on mourning strangers." A howl echoed through the crystal forest, but it sounded different from the shadow beasts they knew. "That's new," Ryan said, picking up his crystal spear. Lisa listened carefully. "It sounds wounded and scared." "Something that big can get scared?" Amanda asked. "Everything gets scared when it's hurt and alone," Jake said. They heard the howl. Again, closer this time. Through the crystal trees, they could see something moving toward their camp. It was big and moved on 2 legs like a person. "That's not one of the local predators," Lisa said. As it came closer, they could see what it was. A hegemony soldier in damaged armor was stumbling through the forest. His energy weapon was gone and his helmet was cracked. He was bleeding from several wounds. "Should we help him?" Amanda asked. Ryan looked at Jake. "Sir, he's not human. His people would probably leave us to die." "Maybe," Jake said, "but we're not his people. We're humans." Jake stood up and called out to the wounded soldier. "Over here! We have water and shelter!" The soldier looked toward them with suspicious eyes. He was tall and had gray skin with black markings. His species was known for being strong fighters, but this one looked exhausted and afraid. "Why do you help me?" the soldier asked in broken English. "Because you need help," Jake said simply. Lisa was already preparing medical supplies made from plants she had found. "Sit down. Let me look at those wounds." The soldier sat heavily by their fire. "My name is Corin. My unit was destroyed by acid-spitting beasts yesterday. I have been running since then." "How many were in your unit?" Ryan asked. 20 soldiers, Corin said. "The best warriors of the hegemony, all dead except me." Amanda brought him water, in a cup made from a large leaf. "We're sorry for your loss." Corin drank the water gratefully. "You are the humans, yes? The weak species that everyone talks about?" "That's us," Jake said. "Though I'm starting to think we're not as weak as people believe." Lisa finished cleaning Corin's wounds and wrapping them with plant fiber bandages. "These should heal in a few days if you keep them clean." Corin looked around their camp with amazement. "You built all this in 2 days? With no tools?" "We had tools," Ryan said, showing him their crystal weapons. "We just had to make them ourselves." "And you have been here 2 days without losing anyone?" Corin asked. "We work together," Amanda explained. "When one of us is in danger, all of us help." Corin stared at the fire. "The hegemony teaches that strength comes from individual power. Each warrior must prove himself alone. But your pack tactics are effective." "Pack tactics?" Jake asked. "Yes. You hunt like wolves from your homeworld. Each member has a role, but all work toward the same goal." Lisa nodded. "That's how humans survived on Earth. We weren't the strongest or fastest, but we were the best at working together." That night, they were attacked again. The tunnel dwellers came in larger numbers than before, but this time the humans were ready. Jake and Ryan used spears to keep the creatures away from the camp, while Lisa and Amanda used slings to throw sharp crystal pieces. Corin, despite his wounds, fought with them using a crystal club. The battle was fierce but short. The tunnel dwellers learned that the humans' camp was too dangerous to attack. They retreated back to their holes. 17 dead, Ryan counted. "And we didn't lose anyone." "They won't attack us again," Lisa said. "Predators avoid prey that fights back effectively." Corin sat down heavily. "In one night you killed more tunnel dwellers than my entire unit managed in a full day of fighting." "Different approaches," Jake said. "Your people are trained to fight as individuals. We're trained to fight as a team." "It is more than that," Corin said thoughtfully. "Your species does not just survive in new places. You make those places better for survival." Amanda looked around their camp. In 2 days, they had turned a dangerous piece of forest into a small fortress. They had fresh water, food sources, weapons, and defenses. Any human who came here after them would have an easier time surviving. "That's what humans do," she said. "We don't just adapt to places. We change them to fit us better." And then other humans can live there too, Lisa added. Each generation makes it a little bit easier for the next one. Jake stood up and looked out at the crystal forest. Tomorrow was their last day in the Crimson Wastes. If they survived until evening, they would earn the right to dine with the Zephyrians. But he was beginning to understand that survival was not the real test. The test was about showing what kind of species humans really were. Not prey animals trying to hide from predators, but apex predators themselves. Just a different kind than the Zephyrians expected. Get some rest, Jake told his team. Tomorrow, we show Korath what humans are really capable of. Corin looked at him with respect. Captain Morrison, if we survive tomorrow, I will tell the Hegemony Council about what I learned here. Your species deserves more respect than we have given you. We all deserve respect, Jake replied. That's another thing humans believe. Every intelligent species has value. As the others settled down to sleep, Jake kept watch by the fire. In the distance, he could hear the sounds of the crystal forest, but they no longer sounded like threats. They sounded like home. Tomorrow, he would sit down to dine with apex predators. But tonight, he was beginning to realize that he already was one. The morning sun on Zephyros Prime was red and cast long shadows across the crystal forest. Jake Morrison woke up to the sound of drums beating in the distance. The rhythm was slow and deep, like a giant heartbeat. Everyone up, Jake called to his team. I think the feast is about to begin. Lisa Carter was already awake, looking out the window. Captain, there are creatures moving in the forest, big ones, and I can see the other alien delegations being moved to different areas. Amanda. Brooks quickly dressed in her diplomatic uniform. Captain, I had dreams about being hunted last night. What if that wasn't just a dream? Ryan Stone checked his hidden tools one more time. Sir, I've been thinking about those bones in the walls. Dr. Carter was right. Some of them came from intelligent species. This isn't a dinner party. It's something else. A loud roar echoed across the crystal forest. It was followed by screams, human screams. That's not us, Jake said, counting his team. But it sounds like someone's in trouble. Korath entered their room without knocking. Behind him came Sub-Apex Velith and War Singer Thrak. All three Zephyrians looked excited, like children on their birthday. The feast of recognition has begun, Korath announced. Are you ready to prove you deserve to dine with us? What exactly are we supposed to prove? Amanda asked. Korath's eyes glowed brighter. That you are worthy prey, or perhaps that you are something more. Prey? Ryan stepped forward. You invited us here to hunt us? The Crimson Wastes await, Velith said, pointing toward the window. 3 days. Survive 3 days in our hunting. Preserve, and you will earn the right to sit at our table. Fail, and you will become our meal. Jake looked out at the crystal forest. It stretched for miles in every direction. Between the crystal trees he could see movement, large shapes prowling in the red shadows. What about the other species? Lisa asked. Thrak made a sound that might have been laughter. The Centaurians are already running. The Vorthan Collective is trying to hide. The Hegemony soldiers are fighting, but they will not last long. Another scream echoed from the forest. This time it sounded like a Centaurian. You expect us to survive in there for 3 days? Jake asked. We hope you will try, Korath said. Your species interests us. You are small and weak, but you have spread across many worlds. We want to see how you do this. What weapons do we get? Ryan asked. The same weapons your ancestors used on your homeworld, Velith replied. Your hands, your mind, and whatever you can find in the wastes. Korath led them outside to the edge of the crystal forest. Up close, Jake could see that the trees weren't really made of crystal. They were some kind of plant that had grown hard and clear like glass. Their leaves tinkled in the wind like wind chimes. The preserve contains creatures from many worlds, Korath explained. Some hunt in packs, some hunt alone. All of them are hungry. The Crimson Wastes earned their name from the blood of those who failed our test. Lisa knelt and examined the red dirt at the forest's edge. This soil has iron in it. That's why it's red. But there are other things, too. Bone fragments. Lots of them. Dr. Carter, Jake said quietly. Can you identify what we're dealing with here? Lisa stood up and brushed dirt from her hands. The tracks I see belong to at least 6 different predator species. Some of them are bigger than earth elephants. Others are small but move in groups. Amanda was trying to stay calm, but her hands were shaking. Captain, this is not diplomacy. This is murder. Maybe, Jake said. Or maybe it's something else. Ryan, what do you think? Ryan studied the forest like the soldier he used to be. Sir, this isn't random. It's a test. They want to see how we react when we're in danger. Korath nodded approvingly. The human warrior understands. This is not about killing you quickly. It is about seeing what you do when death surrounds you. A howl came from deep in the forest. It was answered by 2 more howls from different directions. The shadow beasts are waking up, Thrax said. They hunt in the red light of dawn. You should go now before they catch your scent. Jake looked at his team. Lisa was scared but determined. Amanda was trying to hide her fear. Ryan was already planning their first moves. Any advice? Jake asked Korath. Do not try to hide from everything, the Zephyrian leader said. Some creatures hunt by smell. Some hunt by movement. Some hunt by heat. You cannot avoid them all. Then what do you suggest? Lisa asked. Velith showed her teeth. Do what your species does best. Adapt. Jake took a deep breath. All right, team. We've survived worse than this. Have we? Amanda asked. We're humans, Jake said. Our ancestors survived ice ages with nothing but animal skins and sharp sticks. We can survive 3 days in an alien forest. They walked into the Crimson Wastes together. The crystal trees around them rang like bells as the wind moved through them. The red dirt was soft under their feet and showed the tracks of many different creatures. Stay together, Ryan said. Don't split up for any reason. Lisa was already examining plants as they walked. Some of these might be edible, and I can see water flowing between those trees over there. First priority is shelter, Jake said. We need somewhere to defend from predators tonight. A roar echoed through the forest, much closer than before. Something large was moving through the crystal trees toward them. Second priority, Ryan said, picking up a sharp piece of broken crystal, is weapons. Amanda grabbed a long crystal branch that had fallen from a tree. I never thought my diplomatic career would lead to this. Think of it as extreme negotiation, Jake said, finding his own crystal weapon. We're negotiating for our lives. The roar came again, even closer. Through the crystal trees, they could see a shadow moving toward them. It was big, low to the ground, and moved like a hunting cat. Dr. Carter, Jake said quietly. What do you think that is? Lisa watched the shadow carefully. Based on the movement pattern, it's an ambush predator. It's trying to get close before attacking. But Captain, it's not moving like it's hunting us. What do you mean? Ryan asked. It's moving like it's curious about us, Lisa said. Like it's never seen anything like us before. The shadow stopped behind a cluster of crystal trees. Jake could see yellow eyes watching them. What do we do? Amanda whispered. Jake thought about what Korath had said. Do what your species does best. Adapt. We don't run, Jake said. We don't hide. We show it we're not easy prey. Jake picked up a rock and threw it at the crystal trees near the creature. The impact made a loud ringing sound that echoed through the forest. The shadow beast stepped out from behind the trees. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its body was covered in dark fur that seemed to absorb light. It had 6 legs and moved with perfect grace. Its eyes were intelligent and curious. It's magnificent, Lisa whispered. The creature tilted its head and made a soft, chirping sound. I don't think it wants to eat us, Lisa said. I think it wants to understand us. Jake slowly held out his hand toward the creature. Easy there. We're not here to hurt you. The shadow beast took a step closer, then another. Its nose twitched as it smelled the humans. Then, from somewhere else in the forest, came the sound of screaming and weapons fire. The hegemony soldiers were fighting something. The shadow beast's head snapped toward the sound. It made a low growling noise and disappeared back into the crystal trees. Well, Jake said. That was interesting. But I don't think all the creatures in here are going to be that friendly. Captain, Ryan said, we need to move. That weapons fire is going to attract other predators. They continued deeper into the crimson wastes. Behind them, the screaming stopped. The forest became quiet except for the tinkling of crystal leaves and the distant sound of water. Day 1, Jake said. 2 more to go. The shuttle landed on Zephyros Prime with a soft thud. Jake Morrison looked out the window and saw a world unlike anything he had imagined. The trees were made of crystal and reached high into the purple sky. Floating cities hung in the air like giant bones carved into buildings. Stay close together, Jake told his team. Remember, we represent all of humanity here. Lisa Carter checked her scanner one more time. The air is safe to breathe, but the gravity is stronger than Earth's. We'll get tired faster. Amanda Brooks straightened her diplomatic uniform. She had studied Zephyrian customs for a week, but she still felt unprepared. Captain, remember that eye contact is important to them. It shows we're not afraid. Ryan. Stone carried no visible weapons, but Jake knew he had hidden tools for protection. Sir, I don't like this. The landing area is too open. If this is a trap, we have nowhere to run. The shuttle door opened. Hot air rushed in, carrying strange smells of flowers and something that reminded Jake of a zoo. They stepped onto a platform, made of smooth black stone. Then they saw their hosts. Apex Hunter Korath stood 12 feet tall. His scales were dark green with patches that glowed blue and yellow. When he moved, muscles rippled under his scaled skin. His claws were as long as Jake's fingers and looked sharp enough to cut steel. His yellow eyes studied the humans like a cat watching mice. Behind Korath stood 2 other Zephyrians. Sub-Apex Valeth was slightly smaller, but had more scars across her face and arms. War Singer Thrak wore decorations made from bones and teeth. All 3 aliens had their attention focused completely on the human visitors. Welcome, humans, Korath said. His voice was deep and made the ground vibrate slightly. I am pleased you accepted our invitation. Jake stepped forward. Thank you for inviting us, Apex Hunter Korath. I am Captain Jake Morrison. This is Dr. Lisa Carter, Diplomat Amanda Brooks, and Commander Ryan Stone. Korath tilted his massive head. You are smaller than I expected, but you stand straight and look at me without fear. This is good. Lisa tried not to stare at Korath's teeth. Each one was the size of her thumb and curved like a knife. We are honored to be here, she said. Follow me, Korath said. He turned and walked toward a building that looked like it was made from enormous ribs. We will show you where you will stay. As they walked, Jake noticed other alien visitors. A group of Centaurians stood near a smaller building. They were tall and thin, with 4 arms and large brains that showed through their transparent skulls. They looked terrified. Further away, he saw representatives from the Vorthon Collective. They were creatures that looked like walking octopi with silver skin. They were huddled together and spoke in worried whispers. Near the main building, soldiers from the hegemony waited in formation. They wore full battle armor and carried energy weapons. Even they looked nervous. Captain, Amanda whispered, we're not the only ones invited to this feast. I see that, Jake replied quietly. But we're the only ones being escorted by Korath himself. They entered the Palace of Bones. Jake realized the name was not a metaphor. The walls, floors, and ceiling were all made from the skeletons of massive creatures. Some of the bones were as thick as tree trunks. Others had strange shapes that came from aliens Jake didn't recognize. This is your home while you visit us, Korath said, stopping at a large room. You have everything you need, food, water, sleeping areas. Lisa looked around the room. The furniture was made from more bones, but it seemed comfortable enough. Thank you for your hospitality. Korath's eyes studied each human carefully. Tell me, why do you think we invited you here? Jake met the alien's gaze steadily. We don't know, but we're curious to find out. Curious? Korath repeated. Yes, we have heard this about humans. You explore places that other races avoid. You ask questions that others fear to ask. Learning new things is important to us, Amanda said. War singer Thrak spoke for the first time. His voice was higher than Korath's, but still deep. We have watched your species spread across the galaxy. You take worlds that others cannot live on and make them homes. We adapt, Ryan said simply. Sub-Apex Velith stepped closer to Ryan. She was still much taller than him, but Ryan didn't back away. You are warriors? Some of us are, Ryan replied. But we're also explorers, scientists, artists, and builders. Interesting, Velith said. Most species are one thing or another. Fighters or thinkers, hunters or gatherers. But humans seem to be many things at once. Korath nodded slowly. This is why you are here. Tomorrow the Feast of Recognition begins. You will learn what it means to dine with apex predators. What exactly does this feast involve? Amanda asked. Korath showed his teeth in what might have been a smile. You will see. Rest tonight. Eat our food. Prepare yourselves. The 3 Zephyrians left the humans alone in their Bone Palace room. Jake looked around at his team. Well, that was interesting, he said. Lisa was already examining the walls. Captain, look at these bones. Some of them are from creatures I've never seen before, and some of them look like they came from intelligent species. You mean people? Ryan asked. Maybe, Lisa said. These scratch marks here look like they were made by claws or weapons. Amanda sat down on a chair made from what looked like a giant rib cage. The other species here are all much more advanced than us. The Centaurians have been in space for 1,000 years. The Vorthan Collective has technology we can barely understand. The hegemony has the strongest military in the galaxy. So, why invite us? Jake asked. Maybe that's the point, Ryan said. We're the underdogs, the new species that everyone underestimates, Lisa nodded. On Earth, the most successful predators weren't always the biggest or strongest. They were the ones that could adapt and work together. Jake walked to the window and looked out at the crystal forest. In the distance, he could see creatures moving. Between the trees, some of them were huge. All of them looked dangerous. Whatever this feast is, Jake said, I don't think it's going to be a normal dinner party. Amanda joined him at the window. Captain, what if we can't complete their test? What if we fail? Jake looked at the bones around them. Then we become part of the decoration. That night they ate food provided by their hosts. It was meat from creatures they couldn't identify, fruits that tasted like nothing from Earth, and water that had a slight metallic flavor. Lisa tested everything first to make sure it wasn't poisonous. It's safe, she said, but some of this meat is definitely from predator species. The Zephyrians want us to eat like they do. As they prepared for sleep, Ryan checked the room for exits and hiding places. Amanda studied her notes on Zephyrian culture one more time. Lisa examined samples of the local plants and water. Jake stood watch at the window. In the crystal forest, he could see lights moving. Some were the natural glow of the crystal trees. Others were the eyes of creatures hunting in the darkness. Tomorrow, he and his team would discover what it truly meant to dine with apex predators. Whatever waited for them, they would face it as humans always had, together, stubborn and determined to survive. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Meridian and stared at the message on his screen. He read it 3 times, but the words did not change. The Zephyrian Empire wanted to invite humans to their homeworld. They wanted humans to join something called the Feast of Recognition. Jake had been in space for 15 years. He had met many alien races. Some were friendly, some were not. But the Zephyrians were different. They were the hunters of the galaxy. They were 12, feet tall with sharp claws and teeth like knives. Other races feared them. Other races ran when they saw Zephyrian ships. Dr. Carter, please come to the bridge, Jake said into his communicator. Dr. Lisa Carter arrived quickly. She was the ship's expert on alien life. She knew more about strange creatures than anyone else on the ship. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her blue eyes were bright with curiosity. "What do you need, Captain?" she asked. Jake showed her the message. Lisa read it carefully. Her face went pale. "Captain, no one gets invited to a Zephyrian feast," she said. "Not ever. In 200 years of space travel, no species has been asked to join them for dinner." "Why do you think they want us?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. "I don't know. But, Captain, the few reports we have about Zephyrian dining habits are not good. They eat their food while it's still alive." Amanda. Brooks walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's diplomat. Her job was to talk to aliens and make peace. She was tall and had red hair that she always kept neat. She looked worried. "Captain, I've been reading about the Zephyrians," Amanda said. "Their leader is called Apex Hunter Korath. He has never spoken to humans before. He has never spoken to any race that wasn't already part of his empire." Jake looked at his crew. "What do we know about this Feast of Recognition?" Lisa pulled up files on her tablet. "Not much. It happens once every 10 years. They invite other species to prove themselves worthy. But, Captain, none of the invited species have ever returned to tell us what happened." "You mean they're all dead?" Jake asked. We think so, Lisa said quietly. Commander Ryan Stone entered the bridge. He was the head of security. He was a big man with dark hair and serious eyes. He had been a soldier before joining the space fleet. He looked at the message on Jake's screen. "Sir, this sounds like a trap," Ryan said. "Why would apex predators invite prey to dinner unless they plan to eat them?" Jake sat down in his captain's chair. He thought about the message. The Zephyrians had specifically asked for humans, not the Centaurians, who were known for being smart, not the hegemony, who had the strongest military. They wanted humans. "Dr. Carter, what makes humans different from other species?" Jake asked. Lisa thought for a moment. "Well, we're not the strongest. We're not the fastest. We're not the smartest in the galaxy. But we are stubborn. We don't give up easily. We adapt to new places quickly. We also work well together," Amanda added. "Other species have noticed that humans help each other, even when it's dangerous." Ryan nodded. "We're survivors, sir. Humans have lived through ice ages, plagues, and wars on Earth. We always find a way." Jake stood up and walked to the large window that showed the stars. "The Zephyrians must know something about us that we don't know about ourselves. Otherwise, why pick us?" "Captain, are you thinking of accepting?" Amanda asked. Her voice shook a little. "I'm thinking about it," Jake said. "This could be the chance for humans to prove themselves in the galaxy, or it could be suicide." Lisa looked at her tablet again. "Captain, I've been studying what little we know about Zephyrian culture. Their society is based on strength and hunting skill. They respect only those who can survive their tests." "What kind of tests?" Ryan asked. "Unknown," Lisa said. "But based on their biology and culture, I would guess they involve hunting or fighting dangerous creatures." Jake turned back to his crew. "How many crew members do we need for a diplomatic mission?" "A small team would be best," Amanda said. "Maybe 4 or 5 people. Too many might seem threatening. Too few might seem weak." "I volunteer to go," Ryan said immediately. "So do I," Lisa said. Amanda nodded. "It's my job as diplomat. I should go too." Jake looked at each of them. These were good people. They were brave. But he was asking them to risk their lives for something they didn't understand. "We need to learn more before we decide," Jake said. "Dr. Carter, I want you to study everything we have about Zephyrian biology and behavior. Amanda, research their political structure. Find out who this Korath is and what he wants. Ryan, prepare security plans. If we go, we need to be ready for anything." "What about you, Captain?" Lisa asked. "I'm going to call Earth Command. They need to know about this invitation. This decision affects all of humanity, not just us." The crew dispersed to their tasks. Jake remained on the bridge, staring at the message. The Zephyrians had given them 1 week to respond. 1 week to decide if humans would risk everything for a chance to sit at the table with the galaxy's most feared predators. Jake thought about humanity's journey to the stars. 200 years ago, humans had been stuck on one small planet. Now they had colonies on dozens of worlds. They had survived first contact with hostile aliens. They had built an empire through determination and cooperation. Maybe the Zephyrians saw something in humans that other species missed. Maybe they recognized something familiar. After all, humans had been apex predators on Earth for thousands of years. They had hunted woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats. They had survived when stronger species had died out. Jake made his decision. He would recommend accepting the invitation. But first, His crew needed to be prepared for whatever waited for them on the Zephyrian homeworld. The Feast of Recognition was either humanity's greatest opportunity or its greatest trap. Either way, they would face it together.